anyone who thinks these shots are like a cheat code or like a cure or anything other than a tool like weight loss surgery, you're fucking wrong. I'm still a food addict, babe. I'm still struggling with my shit, babe. And I'm mad at past me for not knowing what I got myself into, because my food addiction was hard before feederism was a part of it. So this is week 4 of Mounjaro.
Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today we are going to be talking about Rosie. Now, if you're not familiar with Rosie, we talked about her actually very recently in a video, but today I wanted to do a little bit of kind of like a deep dive, but also kind of going over what's been happening the past few months. So if you're not familiar with who Rosie is someone that we've talked about on the channel before. She kind of came to prominence, at least in my content, because she did a podcast that was pretty popular where she was talking about her experience with feederism and how that was a bad experience for her and, you know, how she was getting out of it. And so I did a video talking about that podcast, and then Rosie actually reached out to me on Twitter and we started talking back and forth. We ended up doing a video together and like an interview, and I have kind of been keeping tabs on her since then. Now, since the beginning of, our contact, she has actually started taking a GLP-1, Mounjaro, and she has been chronicling that adventure over the past few months. So today what we are going to be doing is we are going to be going over a video that my producer, Rachel, put together for us. So this video is about 25 minutes long. But it's cut from a lot of Rosie's content, which she knows that we've done this, so, you know. But it's cut from a lot of her content, and so it's kind of condensing hours and hours worth of content into a little bit shorter so I could, you know, explain what's going on and share this journey, because Rosie, I think, has a very interesting story, and she has been documenting something that I think not a lot of people really understand very much, and she is being very transparent about it, and I think that it's important. And I just think Rosie is, you know, doing something that for her is taking a lot of effort, and it's very brave for her to do. And I always like, you know, kind of shouting that stuff out. So without further ado, again, we're going to be watching this video that Rachel put together. So thank you, Rachel, for doing this, and let's just kind of get into it.
I am terrified to lose the comfort of the chaos that these behaviors that I have known my entire 32 years on this planet has done for me. I am terrified to lose the ability, even if I'm not always actively engaging in it, and even though it's not the same thing, there have been times in the past 6 to 8 months that I've relapsed. And
so what she's talking about here is basically the fear of, you know, going on these GLP-1 medications and what that will entail, you know, maybe having her stop doing certain activities, whether it's binge eating or whatever, that, you know, she finds comfort in. And, you know, those of us that have dealt with food addiction or maybe are dealing with it right now or have just been, you know, severely overweight and food has become a pretty important crutch for us, it's definitely scary to tell yourself that you are going to get rid of that thing that you've gotten very used to relying on. And so, again, she's just sharing her anxieties about that here.
Engaged in certain behaviors and just struggled. And I have been actively struggling with overeating and just realizing, like, I think I talked about it in one of my more recent uploads, that like I am a food addict, and there's always the potential of like a rebound, a relapse, if you will, in terms of certain behaviors.
It's very, I mean, and it's like, I don't even blame the person really, because like with any other addiction, I know that there's a big conversation about like, you know, there's different types of addictions. And so like really comparing each addiction to another one, like whether it's gambling or prawn or, you know, like an actual drug or whatever, like they might have certain similarities, but they are all kind of different. But like when it comes to food, you have to eat every day, right? Like you can't just be like, I'm going to stop eating. I mean, you could, but that's not a good idea. And so it's very common for this to happen. It's incredibly difficult, right, to deal with this. It's incredibly difficult.
And I'm done. I'm done with the stagnation. And I was once so motivated, and then I lost that for a little bit. If you're like queasy to taking shots, hopefully I've already put a disclaimer. I'm not even queasy to shots. I'm freaking out that I'm doing this in general. It took me 2 months to do this. Did it go in? Okay, I think it did. Did it go in? I felt something.
You're good.
I don't
You're
know
good.
if it went in.
You did it.
I'm like paranoid. Okay, that looks like the injection site.
You got it.
Yep, okay, it went in. I am not doing anything else other than the Mounjaro. The goal is for that to change. My goal is for me to see how I handle the Mounjaro, and I'm not going to be doing any specific diet or eating plan along with it. I'm choosing to try really hard to not engage in like diet culture and things like that. And I really do believe that there are a lot of people that assume taking the step to do this kind of shot is diet culture, and I just don't agree.
There's 100% people that think that. But I think that this is an interesting approach, right? So kind of going into this, not trying to change everything at once. This is something that I talk a lot about when I make videos about, you know, people that want to lose weight. It's very hard not to fall into, I personally think it's a trap. That's what I would call it. You know, other people might not see it that way, but falling into the trap of trying to change everything at the start, because like she was even talking about earlier, like you get so motivated and you have these like moments of like, maybe it's clarity or whatever it might be, but like you're just like, I'm gonna freaking do everything right now. I'm gonna change my diet. I'm gonna take Mounjaro. I'm gonna start working out at the gym. And it's like you go a few weeks and then you just start falling off. And then the reason I'm not a huge fan of that is because you start to like maybe not do everything, and then because you're not doing everything that you said that you were going to do, you now feel like, what's the point of doing anything? Now, I'm not saying that I think that what Rosie is doing is the best option or what should be done. I'm obviously not a doctor, but I think it's interesting that she has decided to kind of be like, you know, I'm going to take the medication and try and basically continue eating similar to how I'm eating, but maybe just less. I just think that's an interesting approach, because what you normally see is people being like, I'm going to do everything all at once. And I understand that. And so like, I don't shame anyone for any approach they take, but I've just said, like, I've seen in the past, like when people would try and do the 100% all at once, you know, from the get-go, it's very hard to maintain that. And then people really fall off from that.
I feel like I am just trying to reclaim my health, and I have so much that I want to live for and accomplish in this life.
Hell yeah.
Fuck, I might need to go lie back down.
I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting that.
I'm gonna stay positive. I keep hearing about how this silences the food noise.
Mm-hmm.
I need that.
Yeah.
I really need that. But this isn't easy for me.
So if you're not familiar with food noise, I'm sure most of you heard this, but basically it's like that constant like, oh, what am I gonna have for dinner? What am I gonna eat later? Maybe I'm kind of hungry. Maybe I can have this. Maybe I should eat this. Oh, it's been a couple hours since I ate. Maybe I should, you know, it's just like the constant thoughts about food. And I think it's like one of those things that's really hard to explain to someone that hasn't dealt with it, because if you've never dealt with it, it's a foreign concept, right? It's like you trying to explain something that I've just never ever dealt with. I just am never going to understand it. And so that's kind of what she's talking about here. And a lot of people that have taken these GLP-1 medications, they have said that that's one of the biggest, you know, benefits for them. And so, you know, that's kind of what she's referencing here.
Most things aren't. This was my dinner. This little like half cup portion that I ate, half cup, 2/3 cup portion. That was all I had for dinner. I only ate twice yesterday, only once after the shot, and I'm still not hungry. The loss of my ability to be able to eat more is having an effect on me mentally that I think I should have been a little more prepared for.
That right there is so interesting to me, right? So she said the loss of my ability to eat more is basically, it's causing her to feel a certain way. And that's like truly something I never even really thought of, that like this thing that maybe isn't the best, right? Overeating or just eating a massive amount. When you become so used to it, I can understand that when that feels like it is, I don't want to say taken away, but when it's no longer there and you feel like you can't do it, that can be scary. Because again, if you've relied on food for a long time, of course it makes sense that it would be scary to, change. Again, these are the things that are so interesting to me that just I don't feel like is talked about. And so it's something that even me, that someone that dealt with being, morbidly obese, and I lost the weight, and I've talked about it for years, that's not even something I would have thought of. Like, it only comes from someone that is dealing with it in the moment, right? Because who knows, maybe I did feel that way at one point, but it's been so long that I don't remember. And so that's why I think that these things are so valuable, hearing it from the person that's dealing with it.
What I'm planning to have for dinner. So I'm gonna try portioning out my dinner. I'm gonna eat a lot less than I normally would ever even consider. This is a thin crust pizza with my mom's leftover
That pizza honestly looks pretty good.
lasagna sauce, which has like meat and a little bit of zucchini on it.
She's talking really quietly because I think it was like 3 a.m. at this point. She was like not able to sleep this day or something like that.
I normally always eat a minimum half of a pizza by myself. I'm still eating, and I think I'm getting full. I think I'm full. But if I'm being real,
So before she goes on, it's interesting. I think I'm full. Because again, this is coming from someone that probably has gotten very used to overeating. Like eating to overfull, right? And so feeling like you're full so much sooner, again, I can understand that being something that is kind of scary. And like, I don't know, I just find this to be so interesting because like I feel like a lot of times when you hear people talk about their journey on these medications or whatever, they're so gung-ho, and like everything that is different, they're so excited about. And so for her, it feels like it's like she understands that she needs to do this, but that doesn't change the fact that she's scared to do it. And it kind of reminds me, not to make it about myself, but it reminds me of when I almost got the lap band when I was in high school. Like everyone, this is what the doctor said to me, because we had the follow up after. There was like they were basically trying to get there was like a study at UCSD for kids under 18 with the lap band. They were trying to do a study, but he was like, all the other kids when they went into the follow up appointment, they were all like, I'm ready to do this, whatever, I don't care what it takes, like I'll do it. And I was like, I want to lose the weight, but like this is scary to me. Like, what does this entail? And he was like, that means that I feel like you're more ready. And so that's just kind of what plays in my head when I hear this. Like, yes, this is something that is important, but also I can understand being scared.
I'm gonna be like vulnerable and honest. I'm feeling a lot of emotions bubbling over. I really want to finish this plate. And that it's like a compulsion.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't 100% sure before I turned on the camera and started talking through how I'm feeling. But I feel really dumb for crying right now because it's really not that big of a deal. Like, on the surface of things, like the internal stuff is a lot bigger. Because I know when I turn this camera off, I'm going to keep eating. My goal is to just not force myself to finish it all. But I feel out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the source of the problem.
Yep. A lot of people,
on every
yeah.
side of this scenario.
It's control, man.
I don't feel like food addiction gets the respect that it deserves. Maybe that no, I think respect is the right word. Because I feel like most people with empathy, have a level of respect for the suffering that like drug addicts deal with, that alcoholics deal with. And I don't feel like that same respect is given to food addicts at all. I really want to make these changes. And I'm terrified. And I'm sitting here and I'm trying to slow down. Like, I noticed just in this meal and the previous meal that I had, I am eating a lot slower in general. Like, I don't feel that, like, I guess, ravenous nature. But I still have the psychological, whatever the fuck it is that I have that will convince me that I'm starving if I'm not eating a certain amount of food in a day. I'm really excited to take my next shot, to be honest with you. Like, this was not easy. This was hard. So if you're someone who has similar life experiences to me, you know, my recommendation would be to just be mentally prepared for it to be really hard. Really hard. Taking these shots, getting surgery is not an easy way out. It is a tool that's meant to be utilized. It is something that's meant to be used in conjunction with therapy, which, by the way, I just did today. Today, I feel a lot better when it comes to the food. I've had a little bit of ups and downs when it came to food noise. Like, at first, it was super gone, and then, of course, the third day, I was really hard, and I did have food noise on that day. So I'm only on 2.5. I'm only one injection in. I'm nowhere near even considering giving up on this. I feel really motivated because I'm not seeing any like super direct results yet, but I'm only on day 5.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not doing intermittent fasting. I'm not doing low carb. I'm not doing anything like that. So, I think my progress is going to show in different ways, and I'm not weighing myself every day. I did have a bit of a regain of weight before.
So like, I think that I want to speak about the, you know, it's not an easy way out or it's whatever. So when it comes to, I've talked about this before, but when it comes to like weight loss surgeries and these GLP-1s now, the way I see it is that it is a tool. I think it, I hate talking about this because I feel like a lot of people don't really agree with me. And I don't like confrontation because I'm a big weenie boy, but, like, I think that for a certain person, like Rosie is a great example. This is a tool that makes it basically possible. Do I think that it would be impossible for her to lose weight, or someone in her similar position, for her to lose weight without a GLP-1 medication or weight loss surgery? I struggle to ever say it's impossible because that's just not the way my brain works. And like, maybe that means I'm wrong or that I'm a bad person, but like, I really struggle with saying it's impossible. But I know for a fact it is unbelievably hard to do it without any sort of, I don't want to call it help, but like outside source, whatever that might be, right? Weight loss surgery or GLP-1. And so like for Rosie, I think that it is something that makes it significantly more attainable and accessible, with especially with all of, you know, these food issues and like this trauma that has built up through her life. It makes it, I don't want to say impossible, but near impossible to do it without any sort of outside help or, you know, outside tools. That's kind of the way that I see it.
I started the shots. So I got down to 459, and then when I like weighed myself day of shots, I was 473. Because as soon as I had hit that lower number, I had started engaging in overeating behaviors and stress eating behaviors, and fluctuated up a bit.
That's a really common thing that people deal with. I've talked to a lot of people of like, they're like, I really struggle with like, whenever I see a certain number, and then the number's gonna be different for everyone, but it's like they almost get scared of the fact that things are working, and they feel like they almost self-sabotage, right? And so I don't know if that's exactly what Rosie has dealt with, but like if you're someone out there that's felt that way, you know, just, you're not alone kind of there. So this is week 2 here. I'm covering it up.
Guru influencer my shot right now.
Those glasses go hard,
Ow.
by the way.
Week 2. I'm having a bit of a downswing because I feel like the past at least few days especially, I've been in a depressive mode, and yesterday I had like insatiable amounts of hunger, and I know like I'm only on the 0.25, only week 1, so it doesn't surprise me that like the hunger aspect of it ebbs and flows. The first day I had appetite suppressants, so I'm hoping for the next couple days that works for me. But yesterday I felt out of control, so I think I binged like twice this past week. Yesterday felt worse than the other time that I mentioned in my last video with the lasagna. Yesterday was really hard on every level. I like took my melatonin and tried to go to bed, and I couldn't fall asleep, and then as I was starting to fall asleep I got a cramp in my leg, and I was just like, oh my god. So
the struggle, bro.
And I'm just like literally daydreaming about getting in my pool at this point, because I'm in so much pain, and I've got so much like going on with me physically right now that I'm just like, I'm worried to work out outside of the pool. Like, I'm worried about hurting myself more. And I want to move more, and I'm literally just scared. I've just been like really achy, and I'm gonna say this now for future Rosie, and for like accountability purposes. If I say it on camera and it gets on the internet, then I can't try to like talk my way out of it later. But I do think that me going out and walking today did help my pain a little bit in terms of my stiffness and stuff. And that makes sense to me, but it's so hard to motivate myself to get up and do that. Even if I just do it for like, 10 minutes or something, I need to start like scheduling more movement in my days. And unless I have a reason to do it, it is truly just so hard to motivate myself. It did help.
That's like something that a lot of people struggle with, the motivation to do the thing that after they do it, they're like, oh, I always feel better after I do that. Why don't I do that more? Right. And it's going to be different. Like if you're struggling with depression and stuff like that, that's going to make it more difficult. But that's why like having a schedule, or not even a schedule, but like just being like, when I wake up, maybe like, as cheesy as it sounds, like setting out your clothes, like if you're going to go on a walk or go to the gym or whatever, like having that stuff ready. So when you wake up, I take a shower. I like to take a shower right when I wake up before I go to the gym. People think that's weird, but like I take a shower and then put on the gym clothes and you go, like, and just because you don't have time to think, you don't have time to talk yourself out of it. And that, that might not work for everybody, but like finding the time, like, or, you go to work and then you have your stuff in your car and you drive to the gym. You drive to the gym, no matter how much you want to go there, how much you don't want to go there. You put on your stuff, you go to the gym. If you're there for 5 minutes, okay, and you decide to leave, fine. But like usually once you're there, you're like, well, I'm here already, might as well, right? And same thing if you go on a walk after work, whatever it is. But like just making yourself do the thing, and not like, the less options you have, the better, I think sometimes. But yeah, that's something that a lot of people struggle with.
Help with my hunger. What it's not helping with is the emotional and stress eating. And that's all mental, and I'm gonna need to start figuring out steps to make more progress in that department. Get this going. All right.
So this is week 3 now.
I figured out a technique that works for me. If I'm like slowly exhaling while I do it, it's just a lot easier. I'm gonna find out how much this is prior to my deductible getting hit, but I have my insurance stuff figured out. I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed to have a job with really good benefits.
So foreshadowing there, just remember that.
Benefits that a lot of Americans don't have when they work things like retail jobs, customer facing jobs. I work for one of the larger insurance companies. They own the pharmacy that I work for, and so I'm really, really, really lucky, and that's one of the reasons why I love my job so much, besides the fact that I just really enjoy helping people and knowing that what I do directly positively impacts people every single day. And it's hard to work in the healthcare system. A year ago today, I took a selfie in this dress, in this car, with a different pair of sunglasses. I had just started feeling symptoms of what I didn't know at the time was undiagnosed diabetes. I was in the throes of like making feudalism content. I was still like active in that community, friends with people in that community. Prior to any of that stuff, already like at battles with myself, wanting to stay and indulge in this world, and in justifying my addiction to things, and just not being willing to understand my reality, and then feeling really, really sick and being really confused and not understanding what I was going through, ultimately led me to going to the doctor, and then subsequently having like a mental health crisis. So I have a side-by-side photo for the first time ever. I'm not ready to do like body ones yet. I used to be very, very anti like transformation photos or like the before and afters, because I still do believe that it is an unfair and shitty representation to be like, I was so miserable when I was fat, and so my life was so horrible and hard, and now that I'm skinny I'm a better person. Like, that mentality doesn't work for me. But
I understand where she's coming from with that. Like, I try my best now with the if I do share before and after. I used to do them a lot more. I don't do them as much anymore, but you know, I try my best to just share the realities of what I was going through when I was heavier. Like, I think a lot of people will overstate the things that losing weight can do for you. Now, is that me saying that losing weight doesn't make a huge difference in your life? Absolutely not. Like I said, it's the best thing I've ever done, and it was the most important decision I've ever made in my life. I want to make that very clear. But I think a lot of times people will oversimplify what losing weight can do for you, or just they will overstate what it does. You know, there are certain things it can help with, but there are also certain things that it can't help with. And so expecting to have this huge life change, and it does, I believe, sometimes it does just kind of show, it doesn't show the journey, which I know is the cheesiest thing ever. But that journey is the most important part of the transformation, because if during that journey you haven't learned things about yourself, and you haven't changed these things about yourself, you haven't picked up good habits, you haven't, like, you're going to end up back to where you started. And I don't say that to try and be negative. That's just what I've seen over and over and over again. And so I try to help people not do that, right? And so it's a really big struggle, because I don't think that, you know, before and afters are always bad, but I think that there is a way that you can do it where you are being honest, and then there's a way that you can do it where it seems like a lot of times the things that I disagree with and I don't like are attached to people trying to promote some sort of, you know, coaching, or promote some sort of program, you know, and I just really don't like that. I really don't like that. I'm not saying that you can't like be someone that's lost weight and also be a coach, or, you know, try and help people lose weight. But I think there's a way that you can do it that is realistic, and not just using your transformation to make money off of people. That is a whole nother subject though. So we'll just continue going.
I have opened my heart and my eyes to the fact that those before and after photos really are motivational, to know that like I am making all of these small lifestyle changes, these things that I've implemented that have stayed in my life.
Yeah.
And that I've lost weight and I'm maintaining those losses. I am purposefully kind of losing weight at a slower pace.
Well, and like, you can make those before and after photos for yourself, and you don't have to share them if you don't want to, right? But like, you shouldn't not allow yourself to make them so you can see that change, because I think that is incredibly motivating.
And so it's nice to see that comparison, to know that like all that work that I did wasn't in vain. And
hell yeah, just
because I don't see it, and my body keeps telling me that I still look like I'm over 500 pounds, and people are still fat shaming me because I am still fat, right? But I can see how much less swollen I look, and my dress fits me differently, like, because I am so much smaller. For me, weighing food, measuring food, tracking food are all triggers.
I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to this clip here.
So the way that I am trying to go about these issues is like tackling them one step at a time.
I like that.
I want to focus on building the habit of using a scale.
Okay.
I want to focus on like kind of understanding what I've been currently like doing in the ways that I'm eating, and my an example for that I want to do is I'm about to make my first meal for today. I'm gonna have a piece of lasagna, and I'm going to weigh what a normal slice of lasagna weighs. Because I'm curious. I'm gonna use this as like an educational moment.
I just want to say that I personally believe that so many people have had this exact feeling that she's about to express, okay? So I just want, if you have had this feeling, please let me know in the comment section down below, because I'm genuinely curious. I know I have, and so please just let me know. But just let's continue.
This is just like a chunk of lasagna. How many? That's 14 ounces. That is almost a pound.
Yep.
So then I need to get to the point where that feels like enough lasagna.
Yeah. That lasagna is thick too,
Just
man.
that.
Damn. It's a thick boy.
See, this is why I don't like weighing food. How dare I be confronted with reality? You know? I used to eat this with like a whole ass like bagel slice. Or no, like a whole bagel, not just a slice, but a whole
like
bagel.
Garlic bread. Oh. So I think this is week 4 now.
It is the final week of my loading dose before I hit my first maintenance dose of Mounjaro. I have been very vocal publicly about my past in feudalism, my experiences there, how sexualizing my eating disorder has hurt me. I have been battling with feelings and impulses that I don't want. Trains of thoughts and words that used to be said to me by other people that I used to say to myself. This like desire to indulge in old habits that hurt me. I've never had like a substance issue with like drugs or cigarettes or anything like that. The closest I've ever come to that is the issue that I had with THC vape carts, and that's why I don't buy them, because that's the closest thing I can think to it. And this does feel like that struggle when I like quit those and transitioned out of it. And one of the reasons why I left feudalism in such a loud public way was because I wanted to like pigeonhole myself into a corner where I couldn't find a way back into that community. I wanted to not only burn the bridge, but the village. I know how addicting it is. And so I'm here, and I've made all these changes, and I feel like I backslid a little last week. Not in a forever way, but in a way that is really frustrating me.
I know this feeling is so hard because it's one that a lot of people deal with, that it's like it's so hard when you feel like you're making progress day by day and week by week, and you feel like because you had this slip up, it's so hard. I don't know, there has to be an explanation in psychology or whatever that explains this, but I feel like it's like human nature to, because you haven't maybe made forward progress, you haven't made any progress. And if you haven't made any progress recently, you're like, what's the point? This is too hard. I'm not seeing any changes. When it, like, if you were able to take a, zoom out and take a bird's eye view, you'd be like, oh, it's clear that this person has made changes. But like when you're in it, it is so easy to just be like, nah, this is a waste of time. Like it's clearly not working. And it's just so much easier to just go back to old habits, back to old things. And like, this is something that so many people struggle with, man.
because anyone who thinks these shots are like a cheat code or like a cure or anything other than a tool like weight loss surgery, you're fucking wrong. I'm still a food addict, babe. I'm still struggling with my bullshit, babe. Like, this is helping with some of it, but like, it is making me really see what I need to isolate and work on. And so that's why I am so thankful for Mounjaro and the opportunity to be on this medication, because it's not fucking easy. It is not easy. It is not a shortcut. And I'm mad at past me for not knowing what I got myself into, because my food addiction was hard before feederism was a part of it. So this is week 4 of Mounjaro. This is where I'm at.
Hell yeah.
I made a decision kind of impulsively, but by the time it was like 11 o'clock at night, I was just like, I need to eat something, and I still have like no energy at all. I impulsively decided to order DoorDash. I'm not happy with myself. I'm not going to just do what I used to do. I'm not going to just go hide in my room and eat this whole thing and feel shitty. I'm not gonna do it. This is everything I'm having on my plate.
Shout out to
Tomorrow's a
Arby's.
new day.
Yep, it is. It's true.
And I need to do better. I set myself up for failure by not eating throughout the day.
Yeah.
I got a good amount of food for tomorrow. I'm not gonna eat any more tonight. I can already tell. Not at all to glorify any of this. This is very unglamorous and unpleasant. But the Mounjaro is helping me. I don't know if I would have been able to get through this moment if I wasn't on Mounjaro right now. Week 5.
Week 5, baby. Let's go.
It is the first up dose. I've really noticed a pattern where like 3 days before I'm due for my shot, that's when I really start struggling with food again. Where like the head hunger comes back. I'm hopeful that the 5 will really up its ability to help me in losing weight. My weight's been a little stagnant. I had somebody get in my comments mad at me tonight because I originally, said I'm not a weight loss channel, and I'm still not. I'm a vlogger who's trying to lose weight, and not to be all like Amberlynn Reed coded here, but like really though, that's what I'm doing. And one day if I do come on here and make like a weigh-in video, then I do. But like, that's not what I'm currently doing. I don't spend a lot of time like obsessing over my weight. I talk about my lifestyle changes. I talk about my health choices. I do talk about food and trying to be more physically active and stuff. If you're like triggered by weight loss, I was once like that too. And it is not other people's fault that you're triggered by a topic. I had not deconstructed fat acceptance yet when I started this channel. That process didn't start for me until I talked to Obese to Beast.
Hey, that's me.
I was leaving feederism, but I had not made a distinction between the two yet and realized that I needed to leave both. This is a very important part of my life because I'm not willing to die for a cause that cares more about vapid approval than health. I spent a lot of time in my 20s drowning in my trauma, drowning in being stuck in my past, and not knowing how to not make it other people's problem. But I can say from the other side of it today that it is really important to put in the work. You may not see those results for 2, 3, 5, 10 years in really sustainable ways, but it's fucking worth it once you get there. I logged into work and I had a message from a name I didn't know. I work remote and I knew that wasn't a good thing. I've been laid off with a month's worth of pay, and that's before my severance would get enacted.
So that's why I said you guys should, kind of foreshadowing, you should remember what she was talking about, because, earlier she was talking about how thankful she is for her job. And I know that her job is a big reason why she's able to get these medications. And so it really is quite the blow. And it's definitely a bummer. It's a bummer.
I'm also eligible for unemployment, and I love my job. I am so heartbroken, and I'm scared. I'm scared for what the future holds. I am disabled, and I got really lucky. I flat out asked them about, like, I'm just trying to understand why I was selected, and basically it sounds like she didn't fully admit this, but she told me I'm completely re-eligible for rehire in any department. And I went to their website and I was looking through, and I realized, I was like, all the remote positions are gone. I think they're getting rid of remote workers. But I like helping my patients. And I can't do a non-remote job long term. I just don't want to rot in bed and be sad. So here I am. Howdy friends, it's been few days now since I found out and went out and filmed these clips here at the park. It was a really pretty night. Basically got to watch the sunset, and
It's very pretty.
I went on a short little walk because I was really overwhelmed just in so many ways, and so totally not prepared for these changes. I'm definitely faring a lot better than when I initially found out. I don't know, maybe it's almost a little delulu, but I do feel this sense that, like, I'm gonna be okay. I'm very concerned and stressed about healthcare, but other than that, I know what I'm capable of, and I know what my dreams are, and I know what I want for myself.
So that's the whole thing. And I just, again, like I said, like, I thought this was so interesting because this is someone that's on their journey with Mounjaro, and someone that has, you know, self-proclaimed food addict, was very much so in the throes of, you know, fat acceptance and all of that stuff, and is trying to make a change, and is sharing, like, the wins, but also, like, the struggles. And it's such a bummer that, you know, getting laid off, obviously that's always a bummer regardless of what you're doing, but it's just such a bummer seeing someone using, you know, the healthcare that they had to make this very serious change. And it's just like, I really hope that this doesn't derail things. And so I wanted to share this video with you guys. I thought that, again, it's a very interesting story, and you know, I've been following along, and I really hope that this isn't like the end of it, and I hope that things are able to work out. And so, Rosie, if you're watching this, you know, I wish you the best, and I know Rachel that made this video wishes you the best, and I know that a lot of my community, who is awesome, you guys are great, wishes you the best. And so we hope that everything works out. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Let me know if any of this was of relevance to you, or you related to any of it. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.